So tell me, did you ever want to leave civilization and explore inner and outer space while battling hordes of violins and suggestive blobs in your spaceship? Well, neither did I until I played InExtremis. There's nothing here, is there? I did get a game code for this in exchange of me making this video. So I guess this is kind of a paid promotion. I'm just covering my ass here. InExtremis is a bullet hell shoot 'em up space shooter thing kin to the older classics of Asteroids and Super Stardust. This one though takes the genre to a completely different level in many ways, especially in terms of its aesthetic and style, but we'll come to that in a second, everyone. When it comes to gameplay, it's just a solid shoot 'em up. You control your spaceship with the arrow keys, and you shoot the shit out of yourselves with X and Z. The level design is unique in more ways than one, and they're all really fun to play through for many reasons. They all have a very different feel to them, and there is a bit of replayability as well, since you unlock weapons or aspects, as you call them. There's also the classic high score table as well, kin to the game's older arcade ancestors. I would say though that the core of the gameplay for InExtremis is that it is frantic as fuck. The term Bulletstorm does describe it fairly accurately, even when you play on easy mode, which is the mode that I played on, which is fine. I'm a grown man, I can admit to my shortcomings. Don't need to prove my ding-dong size by playing on medium, you know. You do get punished for your mistakes, but there is a very sort of satisfying learning curve as well when you finally figure out those boss mechanics. Yes. One gripe I do have with the game though is that the progression between the levels is not as intuitive as I wanted it to be. Maybe this is, and well, probably. Maybe this is just because I'm really stupid, but I did have a hard time figuring out how to get to the next level. I found myself playing the first two over and over because I didn't understand how to progress to the third one. Again, probably just because I'm really stupid, and perhaps not necessarily the game's fault. I did play through the whole game in one sitting though, so I'm gonna have to give the gameplay of InExtremis 7 out of 10 fish slaps. When it comes to sound design and music, this game is really fucking good. Or at least it's very interesting. The weapons and the kind of popping sounds of the enemies are satisfying, but the background music is where it really takes the cake, you know. Each level has its own soundtrack, which heavily determines the feel of the level. The music ranges from hardcore techno music, which you would expect in perhaps German clubs or something, to classical and jazz. But all of the background music share a very high tempo and a sense of urgency, which very much goes in line with the otherwise frantic gameplay. It's not a convoluted way of saying that at all. Shush. One exception though is the water level, where the music is completely different. It's kind of an Enya soundtrack in the background, very soothing and relaxing. This leads to some really silly situations where you're losing your tits because thousands of jellyfish are trying to blow you up. But at the same time, the music sort of invites you to relax and contemplate your childhood. All in all though, the sound design and the music of InExtremis is really good. And perhaps the best thing about it, so I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10 lobsters. The water design is really interesting as well, because you get sort of sucked down deeper into the ocean, even though it's a 2D game, which is pretty cool. Which is a nice segue, isn't it, to general design and graphics. Now this is where InExtremis just says fuck it all to conformity and whatever you were expecting. The graphics look fine, there's nothing extraordinary going on really, but the design of the different levels is interesting to say the fucking least. For instance, there's a music and theater level where you get attacked by angry violins and oboes. Another one has a kind of a goth aesthetic where you fight off larvae and human organs and shit. The one that takes the cake though in terms of weird fucking design is Of Lurid Dreams. Suck on that name for a level. Because here you get attacked by pissed off nipples and ding-dongs who try to shoot down your spaceship. I think that sentence sort of sums up InExtremis pretty nicely. So it's not the prettiest game perhaps, but I just have to appreciate the audacity and the fuck-it-all-edness of the design of this game. So 7.5 out of 10 bananas for the aesthetics and the graphics of the game. Conclusion and recommendation. Goodness me, here we are at the end of all things. Welcome to the conclusion of the video. So would I recommend InExtremis? I think I fucking would. It is a really weird and wonderful take on the classic space shooter genre, with a fuck ton of originality and just solid gameplay. Because of the great music and sound design, and because of the weird fucking design choices, I'm gonna give it a final score of 8 out of 10 hamsters. If you're after a weird experience of a couple of hours and you know that you like this type of game, I can highly recommend it. You can get it on Steam. I think it's like £10 or $10 or something. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This was my first ever game review on this channel or on any channel. So I would appreciate any feedback that you have for me. It was really fun to make. And at least there is going to be one more of these ones coming out. So yeah, stick around for that. Also, as a final note, thank you very much for Jorium for this wonderful opportunity. I'm sorry that it's a bit late, but I hope you found it okay. And that's it. Until the next one, toodles.